Hey, I'm Dukes on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store, where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it. Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back tonight with BANT Maverick. This is the third trial at a trophy for Maverick Joe's $300 challenge. And it's a little bit different to the deck we played previously. This version I really like. I've trialed a few games, which you'll be able to see in another upload, where I just went through about 5 matches with this list to see how it performs. And one of the big things that I wanted was from the sideboard was more turn 1 interaction against combo. So that's why I've gone with the 3 Deafening Silence and the 2 Spell Pierces. Spell Pierce also pretty nice because it can hit Planeswalkers, which is why I kind of like it over Flusterstorm. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Decks that I don't want to hit, most likely elves. That's pretty much the reason for the Blast Zone, and just because Blast Zone is quite nice at making Knight a tutor for removal as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, overall a pretty clean deck, which is nice. The Esper Sentinels will be interesting over Mums, and Stifles will be pretty interesting as well. So that should be pretty cool. Hey Dan, welcome, and Red the Regulus, always a pleasure. I don't know if it's anyone else, and if you're watching this on YouTube and actually play Maverick, if you've been thinking about a 2-drop for Green Suns and have been thinking about Tarmogoyf, you're not alone, because I've been really wanting like a better beater in the 2-drop slot for Mav. Scavenging Ooze hasn't really been cutting it, and your other 2-drops are things like Scrib Ranger, Collector Oof, Outline Liberator, so it's been tough. I don't think Voice of Resurgence is there either. I'm not a big fan of Hex in a non-Mum deck. If I played the Mums in this version over the Esper Sentinels, I would be a little bit more considerate over playing Hex Drinker in this spot. I just think that Endurance does enough against the graveyard decks these days that you don't really need the Ooze, but the incremental life gain can be nice. But again, we do have Uro for that, so yeah, bit of a tough one. But let's see how this goes. We're playing a Legacy League. Well, there's a Legacy Prelim in 4 hours. That's pretty cool. That is actually pretty tempting. Because it's Friday night here, and my housemate has COVID. Shout out to Jack, big fan. So I'm just having a night in, and it's kind of good. Pretty chill. Big week of work, so it's always nice to finish with some Maverick, with some friends, and hopefully do pretty well. But we'll take it a game at a time. All right. Whew. Yeah, thankfully they have no symptoms, which is quite nice. I'm gonna keep this, even though it just relies on the Hierarch as a white source. I think that's gonna be okay. Once is fine. I kind of hope this isn't elves, but you never know. Hand's pretty well equipped for depths, especially if they don't go after our Noble Hierarch early on. I guess Reclaimer, Snow-Covered Forest Reclaimer. That makes me think it is going to be depths, but we'll see. Hey Panda, very cool to see you. Hope you're doing well. Alright. Really want to try to get this Swords to Plowshares off on Reclaimer next turn. Beseiju. Okay. Knight. I'm just going to lead with Wasteland Pass. Actually, the question is, do I need to get rid of the Reclaimer here or not? I could just play a Sentinel and make something like another Green Sun's pretty awkward. I assume if I play the Wasteland and Pass, they sack the Beseiju for a Flagstones, which kind of makes the Wasteland pretty bad anyway. If I want a Swords, I Swords at instant speed because I don't want them to be able to get Sajiri Step. However, if this is Elves, which it still could be, they could go and get Cradle. So there is a world where I just play Wasteland Pass and then Swords this in end step. I think that's the play. Hey, Council. Oh, it could be 12 post. Very true. I think if it is 12 post, I'm pretty happy with Wasteland and Swords, if possible. What's it gonna be? Another basic. That makes me think it is gonna be post, so I'm pretty happy just to go ahead with Swords here. Mana are a little bit awkward here, but we did keep the hand knowing that the Noble was really just the only one here. Ooh, Druid. Okay. Another Hierarch. It's funny that this is the one matchup that is just a little bit rough for this kind of build, where we don't have things like Gaddock Teeg or clear ways to get rid of multiple creatures at a time. I think here I'm happy to Swords in response to the first elf they cast, so they can't tap straight away for creatures. Yeah, it's always tough. Like, basic Forest Reclaimer once upon a time could be a few things. Like, it could be Post, it could be Depths, it could be Elves. No great attack here either. So the downside here of allowing them to untap with a Heritage Druid is that if they play Cradle first, but I kind of hope they go for Elvish Visionary here, using 2 mana. Hey, 10k Freeman, welcome. This looks like a Green Suns for 2. And in response, I'm pretty happy just to take out a Heritage here. Just because if we let it resolve, then they can most likely tap everything. They could get like a Birchlaw here, and then try to go off that way. But unfortunately, our hand just isn't really equipped to deal with Elves. Okay, bit of a value plan. I don't need to Wasteland here either, which is kind of nice. I can just wait to see what we draw into. Thalia. Okay. Thalia does make things like Glimpse a little bit more, a little bit better. I think the play here is just going to be Thalia and a Sentinel. And Wasteland on the Bayou. There's a world where I should keep them off the, keep the Wasteland myself for something like a Cradle. But I think with Thalia in play, I really want to tax him as much as possible. It also stops them having black for just like a natural Grist. And Green Suns for 3? Oh, just natural order? Okay, that's fair. Archon. Okay. They name instant. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can Green Suns for 2 here. So this is a 4-turn clock, but we're pretty close to that. We can gain 4 with the Knight. Like, is this a time where we try to get Hexdrinker into play? And then try to build up Hexdrinker to just be our kind of Progenitus? That's pretty interesting. Let's have a quick look at the deck list again. So currently we can Green Suns for 2, so don't really care. We're not playing Hex, we're playing Skoos. I did make that change at the very end. Okay. Then for me, I think it's a case of probably not Green Sunning until we have access to 5 mana to Green Suns for 3. So this turn might just be Prismatic Ending on Shepherd. And then play Esper Sentinel. I guess the Knight as a 4/3 is pretty big with Exalted. That's actually pretty interesting. Sentinel and then Knight as a 4/3. Because it'll be a 6-power creature with Exalted. There's a world where the Green Sun just goes for Birds of Paradise to gain at least a turn off the Archon. Oof is fine. Oh, it's got vigilance? Yikes, okay. Okay. Alright. Dried Arbor. Well. I guess we also have Uro, which we can work towards. That's pretty cool. I think it's just going to be Uro next turn, and then try to get there with Uro, because a lot of Elves decks have moved away from Scavenging Ooze as a green sun's target, just relying on Endurance. But what I am scared of is land into Natural Order again. Okay. And they all have Trample. Yeah, we're at 15. We're definitely taking 9, and then, yeah, tough. Elves. The clear ones are going to be Collect Oof. That's a pretty easy one. Sentinels don't do a whole lot. I do like the Paths. Well, I don't really like them, but they're better than... I think in this case, my opponent having an Elf is a bigger resource than having a basic land. I don't mind the Pierces either. Teferi is definitely interesting, but maybe not where I want to be. I don't mind like one Thalia. Night of Autumn, Endurance. I don't mind just like Teferi bounces as a... play. It might just be this. I could see the Caracas coming out, potentially. I don't think Elves have any legendary creatures that I have to worry about. Yeah, Red. I've definitely been thinking about Tarmogoyf as well. It's just one of those cards where like it doesn't really do much, but it is a beater, and that's what I like. It also just doesn't die to Bolt straight away, typically. Hex Drinker is similar, but it takes a lot of time to like get Hex Drinker together, and then like spending a bunch of mana on Hex Drinker and then just getting hit by Ending before you get it to its ultimate is a pretty big feel bad. Maybe the Esper isn't too bad. Just an early piece of pressure. I think it's just something like this. It's not that great, but... Okay. Turn 1 we can hold up Spell Pierced, and then we can just go Prismatic Ending if they go for a turn 1 play. So Trop Pass. Would love to hit a Green Suns. Be kind of cool. Shepherd. Okay. Well, that's a pretty good Prismatic Ending target. Okay. I think I'm happy just keeping up Spell Pierce again. The next time we can play Library and either hold up Spell Pierce or Sword. I think because of this is a tricky one. I was going to say because of the spell pierce, I kind of want to get rid of the Birchler ranges. But I don't mind swords on Reclaimer pass. 1, 2. Yeah. I think Reclaim is just the bigger threat. We also don't currently have a way to deal with Cradle, so I don't want them getting Cradle into the field. I don't believe they can natural order next turn, but maybe my math is off, and maybe I should have held up Spell Pierce there, but hopefully not. Like, please just Visionary. Okay, that's a great sign. Oh, Beseiju. Wow. Okay. This is pretty interesting. I could just get Uro here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. And then if we draw into a land, I could also hold up Spell Pierce, which is pretty sweet. I could also get Knight of the Reliquary. That's probably the better play because I can start taking them off their lands as well. This is the type of matchup where it is quite nice to have Gaddock Teeg in the deck, but I think it's just a little bit too narrow for a reason to have Teeg in the deck these days. I think holding up Spell Pierce here is better than playing the Sentinel. Snuff out. Oh no, I sixed it as well. That's pretty funny. Well, maybe now they won't expect this this Spell Pierce. Okay. All right, let's tap like. I'll play this first. One, two, three. Ooh. We have a mana floating. Oh, nice. We can actually protect this now because they paid for the Esper Sentinel. Oh, no, they can return and then untap. Yeah, my bad. Yeah. Yeah, it's poor play. Does kind of time walk them, which is nice, but I really need that pressure. Interesting, they're attacking with the wirewood. I don't mind trading here. Like, the wirewood isn't doing too much either. Snuff Out's pretty new tech, for sure. I'm just going to eat now as well to play around like a Bojuka Bog. Yeah, Snuff Out pretty new. There's no other creatures. I think here I just allow them to have their creatures during their turn. Obviously Progenitus is pretty lame, but it's really just Questing Beast as an out if they have Progenitus. I don't mind just getting rid of it now. But it's really just Green Suns here that gets me out of this, because Questing Beast allows me to attack through the Progenitus. Alright. Well, now Questing Beast is lethal, which is kind of cool. Alright. Ooh. This does put a creature into the bin. They're gonna block with Dryad Arbor. Okay. Like, maybe the attack with Bird there was correct in case we drew into another Exalted creature. Definitely tough. But maybe that is just the correct play. I'm definitely eating this. And then it's a case of like, do I want to chump? It's a 2-turn clock anyway. I'd probably rather just have the threat or the creature. Yeah, if I thought that like Reclaimer was still a thing, then definitely going for their lands as well in the bin is worth it. I might as well. Yeah, I really hope that I don't draw another Noble Hierarch, because then the attack with Bird is just... would have been lethal. Tough. Yeah. Rough. Not too much to do there. Don't have too much interaction for the elves matchup. I think there was definitely a moment for using the Spell Pierce when they were tapped out on the Snuff Out, but I F6'd. So definitely a misplay there. Especially after seeing Newton playing around with Snuff Out this morning. I should have thought about it, but tough. Yeah, Snuff Out's pretty cool. It allows you to keep playing your creatures on curve, which is really nice. Doesn't mean you have to fetch like a Bayou against like Delver or Maverick, which is pretty tough because then you're definitely putting yourself into Wasteland territory. Which isn't too bad if a Bayou's eating Wasteland instead of a Cradle, but it still puts you behind a little bit. Yeah, Assassin's Trophy is cool. I believe they're playing a split. I think it's a 2-2 split of 2 Trophy, 2 Snuff Out in the sideboard. Alright, up against AJ Dad. Have you tested Spirit? I have tested Spirit. The list that I played yesterday was a green-white list. Here, where I played a pretty nice split of 2 Aven, 2 Thalia, 2 Spirit as my kind of like white hate creatures, and really enjoyed it. Thought it was sweet. It's just really tough trying to play green-white without splashing another card right now. No green, so I'm gonna mulligan this. I don't mind this. Probably just bottoming a Noble, keeping the double. There is a world where I want double Noble, and I can bottom the Trop and just keep double fetch. I don't mind that. Especially if it's a deck that's going to remove my turn 1 Noble. Having a turn 2 play of Noble and Sword potentially could be cool. Ancient Tomb. Okay, well hopefully not a Chalice deck. Well, you live and learn. Alright, I get it. I get it. This looks like Eldrazi. Yeah, it's gonna be like a green-white Eldrazi deck. Scroll of Fate. Okay. That's not the worst. That does mean that we have Knight online next turn, which is cool. I believe Manifest gives them a 2/2. Smasher. Just gonna fetch now and then 6. Okay. Another Smasher just does it. Okay. Alright. Now it's tough because this Scroll of Fate's going to take over the game. I do get to draw a card, which is nice. I think that's probably the best play, is just sack a land and then draw a card with Canopy. I could go after the mana, but at this point I really need to get rid of that Chalice to turn on these lands. Block the right morph. Does it matter? Do I know what these are? Yikes. Oh my gosh, we nearly have lethal. I mean, we do have lethal, but they have a blocker. I mean, we could attack for 12. They make a dude, they block 1. We obviously have the fetch land to make it lethal. They swing back for 2, but if we fetch for Dried Arbor, we have a blocker. Is that where we're at? Maybe not, because if they're like, the worst card that they can have is Reality Smasher off the top, and we can survive that with Dried Arbor. Yeah, I don't mind waiting. I think an attack is pretty aggressive. I could attack with 1. That doesn't beat Reality Smasher. They probably also play Wasteland, so like Wasteland on Dried Arbor is also a pretty nice out for them if I do have that as a blocker. I think it's probably safe just to pass. Cool deck. Did not expect this. Unless they drew like Bojuka Bog? Two, 4, 6. The only reason I can think of them attacking for 2 here is that if I block each of them, I have 2 damage on the knights, and if they play Bojuka Bog, then state-based actions are going to deal with the knights. So I feel like I should just fetch for Dried Arbor and block Dried Arbor with 1 and Knight with the other. Ah, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that this is a Dreadnought deck as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is fine. Sack this. Wasteland ourselves. And then sack again. Wasteland ourselves to put 9 in the bin, which will allow us to actually win through these. If we draw a fetch here... Ah! I guess we attack with both, right? Because then they have to block with one. Yeah, I think it's attack with both and hope they don't draw Smasher. Oh, it also turns off the Ancient Tomb. 2, 3, 4. They can't use the Ancient Tomb. Yeah, they can't tomb, which is really nice. But they're trying to tap it. Ah, so good. So good. Yes. Now that. Small highlight. Small highlight for sure. All right, sideboarding. Interesting. Okay. I like the forces. I like the parts. I don't think I need the Teferis. The stifles aren't great. Thalias aren't great either. I'm not sure if they're running any sort of like Mox Diamond or Lotus Petal effects. I don't mind endurance. Maybe endurance is just better than... No, I think this is fine. Maybe the Thalia. Yeah, maybe just another endurance. Bloodstone's awkward because it doesn't kill the manifest. Actually, collect oof hits the manifest scroll, so... Negative. Negative. Yeah, okay. I think it's the Sentinel here. At least we have like a Green Suns to ramp or a Green Suns to go and find something to kill Chalice. Okay. In this case, I kind of like just holding up swords for Thought Knot. Then next turn we can ramp. Happy to take the 2. Scroll of Fate. All right. Just to keep some pressure off the board. Okay. Knight is pretty strong. No attacks. Okay. Knight of Autumn's pretty strong here. Just happy to pass with Knight open for swords. Smash is going to be okay. I think here I'm happy just to block like this and see if they want to do anything. Nothing. I could have got a fetch land. Yeah, I just did my math wrong. No. Yeah, I definitely could have played that turn better. Wasteland's pretty cool. A second Knight here is just so strong. Yeah, really tough for them to get out of there. And that's the thing, that's why like in these matchups I'm not too unhappy about not having my fourth copy of Knight in BANT. Because I feel like once you have the one copy, it just does enough. And you still have a pretty high chance of drawing into one of your 3 copies or green sunning for it. Good to be on the board. Hey Ark, if you're still here, are you going to play the Legacy Prelim later on? I believe there's one in about 3 hours. 3 hours and 49 minutes, which is pretty cool. Oh. But yeah, pretty nice there to beat the Dreadnought. That was gonna get pretty tough. Do we run Scrib? We don't run Scrib in this version because there's no Mother of Runes. But it would have been close to lethal there with Scrib. Because you can use the Knight, untap it, attack. Or attack, untap it, and like wasteland yourself. Which is pretty cool. Alright, up against Clock Zombie on the play, which is nice. And we have a hand that isn't keepable. Unfortunately, we will mulligan. No green, but like the double stifle is always quite funny. I don't mind this. I'm gonna drop one Zenith. I feel like this is a game where I can steal it with Stifle. Okay. Ooh, are we gonna get a chance to draw a second blue source? Surely not. What do we lose to? We went down to elves, unfortunately. We do draw a card here, which is nice. Oh. No. This is fine. Yeah, the elves matchup is just one of those ones where you just have to kind of take it on the chin. Maybe get there if they can stumble. Nice. That's fine. Noble? Okay. Could draw Swords to Plowshares here to get rid of the Snapcaster Mage. We don't. That's fine. I guess we also don't have the Stifle open anyway because of the Teferi. They're down to 2 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can only assume a Swords to Plowshares. Days Undoing? Ah, to end the turn? Ah, and they had a Swords? Ah, if it's your turn. Okay. Tough. I assume they have another Days Undoing potentially. Yeah. Not too much to do there. I like the Spell Piercers. I like the Teferis. I don't mind a Force of Vigor. I don't mind the Endurances. I think Endurance does a little bit more than Knight. The Oof. The libraries are a little bit rough. Supreme Verdict's obviously a big pain. Might just be one more. Could also see a Wasteland. I think that's fine. Blast Zone for 3 is kind of interesting, but probably not where I want to be. Potentially. Let's try it out. I'm going to drop a Stifle. Especially against Teferi, it's not that great. Spell Pierce the chosen counterspell here, and it's quite nice in this matchup because you can hit Planeswalkers over something like Flusterstorm. And I do like that it's 1 mana. Dovin's Veto was in the list, and I did like it, but I do like having that 1 mana interaction. No. I guess it's not great, but I think it's just the Cradle here. Turn 1 Acceleration maybe gets hit by a Swords, but then we still have turn 2 Thalia. But yeah, this is another really tough matchup. Haha, fetching. I love it. Okay. This is an interesting spot. I think I like just fetching for actually Tundra potentially. And then it's going for Knight. Back to basics is a little bit rough here, but okay. It's actually not too bad. I think for now I just want to play Ramen up and get some value going. Dovens would be cool in this matchup, but I do like that Spell Pierce against some of the more like combo decks where I really want that early interaction, like Reanimator, is just a little bit easier. I could go for Uro, but I think Beast here is fine. Just to keep that damage going. But yeah, Dovens is cool. From the Ashes, yikes. Alright, Ponder's gonna be pretty good. Chose to not shuffle. Snap Swords. I'm not going to attack because this is currently my blue source. Okay. So now we have an option. We can either go for another Noble and get rid of the Snapcaster Mage, or we can go for Uro and go for some long-term value. But getting Uro back is pretty tough when there's only one Trop left. Hierarch. I don't mind this. The other thought was maybe endurance targeting them. All right. I think here I'd rather attack the Narset. Like, putting them to 1, take them off fetch lands. But I think putting the Narset down to 2 is better, so they can't get another card off it, or if they do, they lose the Narset. I don't think I'm dealing that extra 1. No shuffle. That's pretty interesting. I get to attack. The question is, do I go for Endurance now to turn off Snapcaster Mage? Teferi isn't really an issue because if we Teferi now, or if we Endurance now, they Teferi bounce it. But if they cast Teferi, then I have to cast Endurance in response, and then they can just bounce it anyway. Jace and like Supreme Verdict or some sort of removal spell is probably the big thing, but I think here it's best just to cast this now. Probably off the basics in case they have like back to basics. This doesn't play around like Prismatic Ending either, but I think that's okay. We know about Snapcaster Mage and I'd rather keep them off that and they have swords, okay. Probably rather just keep this in hand, but we do have our Answer to Hull Breacher, which is nice. Yeah, I've already shown it. Like, I could have waited for them to Days Undoing to, like, recoup my hand, but I think this is okay. Okay. That's not nothing. They didn't just tick down, which is interesting. Like, they could have just ticked down and drawn a card. It's also a word where I should have just kept the Blast Zone around. Yeah. Tough. Just not a matchup that I'm going to have too much fun with, so I'd rather just keep the league going. Because there's not much to learn there. Just, yeah. Game 1 would have been closer if we drew a third land, or at least another blue land off the top to have double Stifle open for their 2 fetch lands. That's probably the type of play that I need to have against Jeskai decks to get there, or else they're just going to run over me. Especially on BANT without like Pyroblast in black or like Thoughtseize. Just a bit too hard to keep up with. But at least we can try to finish this 3-2. It'd be pretty cool. G-Hash. Interesting. G-Hash, I'm not too sure who that is. Hey, Maverick Joe. Too kind. Too kind. And we have a keepable 7. Couldn't ask for more. A huge thank you. A huge thank you for the gifted subs. That's really, really nice of you. Too kind. Too kind. The big question is, what do we go for here? I think it's going to be Trop. Just to turn all my colors on. Nice. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. That also hits my goal of 50 subs, so a huge thank you. Yikes. Well, we tried. This is incorrect, because now we can just endurance in response? Unless they have a second echo? Surely not. Surely that's what they gambled for. Oof. That actually makes me not want to Wasteland this turn. To get Questing Beast down next turn to try to finish this game off. Nice. That endurance might have bought us the time to actually get there with Questing Beast. Interesting that they didn't play both pedals and then gamble instead of playing playing both LEDs. Bergie. Okay. We have the sword and Caracas for it, which is nice. Defense crit is cool. Attack for 5 this turn, and then we attack for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's lethal. Hey, Jerry, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I should have actually just played out the second Hierarch and swung for 6 and 6. It still works out to be lethal, but what I can do is I can play Hierarch, and then here I can Wasteland them off red, and if they find red for Burgi, then we still have Caracas open, which means if we play the Knight, we tap ourselves out, so I think going after red mana here is fine. Nice. Oof. Definitely a game of inches. Deafening Silence, yes. Force of Vigor, yes. Spell Pierce, sure. Endurance, sure. Teferi is interesting. I don't mind the bounce effect. Knight's down to 1. Uro out. Ramanap. Endings are okay. I don't mind taking out the swords. Stifles are interesting. The libraries are too slow. Scoos is fine. Maybe it's the Sentinels. What's Stifle really hitting? I guess it could hit Storm. It's actually pretty funny. Might just be a mana dork. We have so many good 1-drops as well in like Silence or Hold Up Spell Pierce that... I don't mind this. Especially with the Stifle. Opponent goes to 6. Really interesting artwork as well. Pretty messed up when you see what's actually happening. Okay. We have Deafening Silence, which is cool, if we get a turn. Ooh, we do! Did not expect that. I think it's just Canopy here, and then next turn we can Teferi Bounce Burgi, draw a card. Yikes. Okay. So that's a next turn play. They do hit a gamble and an LED here. Oh, they discard the Echo. I think I'm just supposed to... Oh no, because we can make them cast the LED. They're down to 0 cards as well. Ah, of course they can just cast this as well. Yeah. Force, but no blue, no green card? Crazy. I always forget they can just cast Echo from the grave. They don't need to actually discard anything. They do drop an Echo though. They have 5 cards left in deck. If only we had a blue mana up. Stifle on Storm would be pretty funny. There it is. I probably want the extra swords. Ooze is probably just a little bit too slow. I could also see Boost Beast coming out. Everything else I don't mind. Could go down on land, I guess. Like Cradle. For a noble. Pretty happy to keep this. I think it's going to be Savannah into Deafening Silence, and my blue source is going to be Noble Hierarch. Okay. We win the race, which is nice, and we also have Spell Pierce and Stifle open here, which is pretty cool. This is also whenever you cast, so I can respond to this, so they can't like pay something through Spell Pierce first. But yeah, against this sort of deck, like Deafening Silence into Hate Bearer is exactly what you want, because you want disruption and then disruption and pressure, and you want to keep building disruption through different elements. So like Echoing True doesn't answer, just like, you know, if you have like double Deafening Silence. So like if we can like Spell Pierce or Stifle here and then untap into Fairy, bounce the Burgie, I'll be pretty happy. This is fine. a land here would be nice. Not too bad. So I have some options here. I can either play Teferi and hold up Spell Pierce or Stifle, or I can Wasteland them with Ancient Tomb, and then also bounce this. I kind of like Wasteland. Probably on red. Make them use the Ancient Tomb to recast the Burgi if they have to. Ooh, really? Okay. I mean, now we just get to hold up Stifle and Spell Pierce. And Endurance if needed. But this little package seems like it's going to do the trick. Nice. All right, let's finish 3-2. See how this goes. Deck's been fun. It's such an enjoyable color combination to play with, but it just doesn't really have that like added oomph that like Pyroblast does, or like Plague Engineer, or even like Thoughtseize or some Planeswalkers. But it is it's so close. I think Sand is just a little bit too much mana that I want to have a bit more spell. No, these mulligans have been really rough tonight. But this is definitely not where I want to be. Like, do I just have to keep this because it has like double play? Most likely Doomsday. Underground Sea Ponder. Tundra, okay. Swords. Seiju, okay, not Doomsday. Knight. I think the Wasteland is better for me, but keeping them off green is also pretty nice. Like, the Wasteland allows me to play Thalia, but in this sort of deck, I'm going to assume Knight isn't that great. I think keeping them off green is pretty nice. I assume they're a Green Suns deck as well. Just getting Ramanap into play isn't too bad. Bob. Mana leak? Hey Giz. Not too bad. Pretty rough mull, but thought we might get a land, but not happening. Well, now it's happening. Bob, Knight, Swords, Ponder, Thoughtseize. Not too sure what this deck is. Like, ramming up into Wasteland next turn is a real play. Bayou? Do they have Bayou? But if they want to ponder, maybe Trop? Tainted pack? Interesting. Paradox. Bayou. Are they holding up Fatal Push? Potentially. I don't think there's a world where I'm not playing Ramen up here. Force. Pretty happy to try to get Noble out again. And just keep grinding. Like there's forces in the deck and they're playing Bob? Come on now. They hit a force negation. Alright. I don't think they attack either, but if they have removal, potentially. Trop. Okay. They do have the force negation. We'll see if they use it or not. There's a world where I'm supposed to do this in upkeep to see if they force it and have the mana for sword. But if they force it, then we can definitely attack, I think. Maybe not. Weird game. Okay. I'm not attacking. I don't think. No, I am. I think I am. This is it. Like they have 3 drops in the deck. They have 4 drops. They have 5 drops in the deck. They're going to 3. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Oh, Flooded Strand. Yikes. I assume they run Uro. That's probably their way back into this game if they can gain some life. Leo. Don't care about that. Alright, Bob. Do your magic. Ah, Caracas? Come on. This isn't how it's supposed to work. This isn't how it's supposed to work. I want to see this play die to their own Bob. Oh, swords! Come on! Come on! Maybe we can get that with Dryad Arbor. That would be pretty sweet. Like they can swords. This is fine. Have your card. we gonna grab this? No! No! Oh! Oh! It comes down to this flip. It comes down to this flip on Bob. Oh, I can't. I can't. Oh, polluted delta. Oh my gosh. Insane. Now they get to ponder to stay alive through the bob. Hey, Mangu. This is a crazy game where I believe our opponent's going to get there. But pretty good for a Mulder 5. But yeah, huge thank you. Hey, everyone from Mangu's stream. I'm Dukes on Twitch. I play Legacy Maverick, and we're currently facing a 4-color deck. That's pretty interesting. And surely they have a land here to put on top so they don't die their own bob. But tight game. But yeah, currently playing BANT Maverick, which is a creature-based deck in Legacy. This is the style of deck. And this is currently a challenge from a long-term fan, Maverick Joe, to trophy with the deck in 5 leagues. So I get 5 chances to do it. And there's a $300 bounty. Another Brainstorm? Draw 3, put 2 back. Draw 3, put 2 back. Are they trying to hit a land? And they just can't find one? Is it going to come down to the fetch here? Surely not. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, they had to decay their own bob because they didn't have a land in the top 6? Insane. This is hectic. We also can't fetch, sadly, because of our life total. But we're both at 1. So even Questing Beast off the top isn't lethal, unfortunately. Okay. I believe Dried Arbor's in the bin as well, so we don't have a creature to fetch. I assume here that Brainstorm did something. Yeah, Flooded Strand. Tough. This will be an interesting one. I can only assume there's going to be some number of Plague Engineer post board. I don't mind the pierces to hit their Planeswalkers. Oof can definitely come out. Stifles are interesting, but I think we can probably go down on Stifles here. Potentially even all the way. Teferi's nice. I don't mind Teferi over the Stifles. It's just another way to kind of attack them. Bouncing Bob. Things like that. Slow down their ability to actually do anything in our turn as well. There is a world where I could also go down on like a Thalia and just bring in 2 Endurance. As just more flash creatures. Yeah. But Plague's the big one. Plague Engineer is going to be the kind of all-star in this matchup. But if we can get value out of the Sentinels or get a good mix of like Thalia and Wasteland together, then I'd be pretty happy. On the play, cool. And this hand's pretty nice. I'll keep this. Savines would be sweet in this sort of matchup. I'm pretty happy just to go for Savannah into Dried Arbor. This allows us to potentially Teferi turn 2. I also don't mind just Thalia here, and then attack for 1, and then if they have a 2-drop, we can bounce it with Teferi. Stoneforge, okay. They get Jitte. I don't mind swords here hold up Spell Pierce. But Spell Pierce is probably more online next turn when they're casting like a 3-mana walker. But we'll see. Leovold's pretty good. They do draw, but we also draw, which is nice. I could have also not played a land to try to draw into a white source, but this should be okay. Something like Wasteland into Savannah into Leovold again would be pretty brutal. Opponent also on 9 cards. So like Leovold into land here puts him on 7. Again, just keep grinding. Holding up Spell Pierce here, which is nice. Means like I guess like a Jace could potentially be stung. Wasteland. Green Suns? No. Green Suns for 2 would make sense. It'd have to be Green Suns for 3. Deluge. Haha. I guess we'll see if we draw first. No. Well, this is a pretty nice Spell Pierce. Obviously, Teferi also protecting it is really nice. Pretty happy to try to trade in this Teferi next turn and then just play the other one. Opponent can also double Wasteland us off, like... interesting, they don't go for like either white or blue. They go for the Dryad Arbor. Which makes me think they have like a Plague Engineer for human. That's fine. To counter Fairy is fine. Ooh, they're 8? I think I like just going for Questing Beast here. Put them down to 3. No Submerge is pretty nice. Knight's gonna be fine. They can't Thoughtseize us, because then they go to 1, and then we have a lethal attack. They can't currently him us. They're gonna Ponder, okay. Chose to not shuffle. Alright. Endurance. Endurance is actually pretty sweet here, because we can make the Knight a 2-2, and then just attack him with the Questing Beast. Or we can play the Teferi and bounce it. Endurance plays around Force Negation. Nice. Opponent thinking. There is one card that I am thinking about that I don't want to say because I don't want to jinx myself. But if they have it, it's pretty clutch. I could attack with both, but if they have this card, then the attack is pretty poor. And I feel like what they've been playing with, the card that I am thinking about, they could definitely have. Nice. Submerge. The card is Submerge, yeah. If they have Submerge, they can Submerge the Questing Beast and block the Esper Sentinel pretty well. There's a world where I could like to Fairy first to play around Submerge in a way that they have to Submerge me before I make my attacks, but... tough one. You were thinking Solitude? I would just assume that their white count isn't high enough for Solitude. Alright. I think on the draw, the spell piercers are probably not where I want to be. And probably just overloading with creatures. Actually, the paths are pretty nice. I'm not sure why I didn't have the paths in there before. Yeah, that's very true, Giz. One lander, no. Yeah, I don't mind this bottoming the cradle. Ponder to not shuffle. Pretty happy to play the forest out, so I don't get wastelanded. But if they play like a Bob here, decay, okay. At least that's one less decay for this library. Even if they have Leovold here, we can Swords and Upkeep. Or probably Path it. But the Ponder here means they can't have Leovold. We haven't seen like a Mox Diamond yet, so it's pretty nice. No Shuff. Probably makes me think they have another Rupt Decay. Bob, okay. That is more than fine. Here I'm pretty happy to pay for all of these. And probably happy just to get this Teferi on the ground. White, come on now. White, blue. Okay. Put on top and put on top. Tick up to Fairy. Land. I'm going to get rid of those two cards by just Zenithing here for Dried Arbor. Can then Swords Bob and play Thalia. Clock's a huge difference here as well. Like they have 4 minutes left and we have 17, so we have a lot more time to talk about our lines, which is pretty nice. They also just missed a land drop, which is pretty huge. So if we can find like a wasteland here, I'll be pretty happy. And there it is. Put on top. I'm going to pay for this. Take them off white. I will attack with both. I could hold up Path and play Knight, but I think attacking with both here is fine. Tick up. Probably should think about Endurance, potentially. Or whatever this is. Oh, they can't cast anything because Teferi. Yeah, we're in the G. We're in the G. Nice. Opponent looks to just have not found what they needed. But I think this game kind of showed that like BANT has a pretty nice grinding plan to it, which is cool. The Teferis are pretty nice at just a bit of like tempo and protection. Spell pieces were cool. I really like that their name is also Knight of the Realm. But yeah, tough one for the opponent. Especially being on the play with like mana acceleration into library, into just pay 8, pay 4? Did we pay 16? And we fetched once. 5, 4, 8, 12, 13. And then hit off this, yeah. But yeah, like I love these sort of decks where like you have Knight, you have Liliana, you have Bob. It's pretty much like 4-color Loam in a way, but it's playing the Ponders, which is really interesting, like Brainstorms as well, Forces. So you have a bit of game against combo as well, which is quite cool. Why is the deck called Maverick? There's a few stories, but I believe the one to be is that Luis, who started the deck, their MTGO username was Maverick with an @ as the A. And that's where they kind of got it. Some people think it's called Maverick because Maverick kind of means like left field. And at the time when the deck came about, it was kind of different to a lot of the Delver and Stoneblade decks that were around. But yeah, deck was sweet. It's gonna be tough to get that 5-0. But the funny thing is that I think all our games so far, or matches, all the game ones we've lost. So the hype hasn't been there throughout. But I'm pretty keen to run this back. I want to run back with, I think with Naya lands for a second stream. So I won't be a second just grabbing these cards.